In this clip, we'll paint rust and grime on the body. So we're getting very close to being done with this section of the robot. Let's go ahead and create a new layer, call it Grime. You know the drill by now. Let's go ahead and make sure we're on a pentabrush. We'll bring the spacing down, flow down, size down. Switch over our alignment to camera, and we'll go for that very dark brown. There we go. All right. So we definitely have lots of places where we could add a little dirt buildup and stuff. Probably not as much on this that would have oil running out, although we'll certainly have a lot once we get to the motor. I think this probably makes sense though for that, having some oil drips and whatnot here. Let's start filling that in. We'll just get some underneath there, because these look like they would have some kind of fluid running through them maybe, and maybe it leaks out every now and then. Let's bring our brush size down just a little bit and get a little bit more precise. Let's add pen pressure to our flow as well. That'll give us a little more control. Make it seem like the drip carried all the way down here, kind of pooled there. One more over here. There we go. And we'll just worry about this side for now, because obviously this is another one of those times where there's no point in making you watch the whole thing. Let's look at another place that would really use grime. We could definitely fill in to places like this. There's certainly a lot of room for catching dirt and grease in here. Get our brush size up just a touch. The flow up just a little bit too. There we go. Especially get some good buildup in the corners here. Now on the front, I don't really want to put grime back here, because this is either, depending on how you want to go with it, this could either be insinuating it just falls off to black or some kind of mesh. But we can get some grime in corners like this. Just a little bit. Something that would just settle on here. Just like so. And definitely you can have a little bit, catching in here as it's sucking air through. That certainly makes sense. And bring our brush size down and do some of this edge dirt along where we've painted our scratches. Really helps bring it out in this case. Can even enhance some of these softer ones if we want to. Could definitely see stuff getting caught in here. Just a bit. There we go. Now let's go ahead and think about rust. Is there any place on here that it makes sense to really work that in? Maybe in this area here where the motor would have dripped down. So let's go ahead and start here. I'll make a rust layer. Before I use that, I'm going to switch back to grime, and I'm going to really supersize my brush here. I'm going to go to more of an orange brown, a little bit lighter, and let's go ahead and put some of our dirt in here. I'm going to go ahead and take this off of size for pen pressure. We'll just have it be fairly large, and let's go ahead and build up some dirt in here, because this would definitely, this big flat area just sitting here, this would absolutely catch that. There we go. Now we got some of that built up. Let's go ahead and switch over to our rust layer. And start building in some of this. We'll go just a little bit more red, a bit more saturated, and a little darker. We'll put some pressure back on our size, bring that size way down, way down. There we go. Now an area like this, I could definitely see some rust starting to build up. That water just sits there. Works its way into every little scratch. Okay, let's go ahead and bump it up to a little bit brighter color. Just dot it in there. Just want to layer it up. Can do some bigger sections as well. We'll shift a little bit more red. A little bit brighter. There we go. We'll switch back down to a bit darker. Just keep this from popping too much. Bring it back down to earth. There we go. Stuff like that, zoom out, and it makes for some nice extra bit of detail and thought in there. We can certainly work that around and probably do a lot more of it in the engine here, where you're just going to have a lot more fluids and stuff. It would feel very natural, I think. And obviously there's a ton more work to do, a lot of nooks and crannies to put more dirt in. But I think you get the idea of basically where that's going to be on this. I'd probably leave, I might put a little bit of grime in here, but let's just go ahead and do a little bit of that while we're at it. There we go. Again, we'll put our brush size back up, but turn off pressure sensitivity. A little bigger. So on this underside, we definitely have like this kind of dust and dirt. Just really collecting. Whoops. And yeah, even on the underside of our pipes, if you get some on there, that's just fine. Yep, definitely on this front bit. Just helps so much. Get a little color in there, all that white and gray. Some in there. Front of this. Definitely going to get dust with all the dirt moving through. A little on these corners. Can't hurt. Let's assume some settles here around these. Back here. Definitely underneath all this machinery. And that's really the rhythm that you need to get in for any of this stuff that I'm showing you, is just constantly working through in your mind. Where does this effect make sense? Where does the dust make sense? Where does the oil make sense? And then you work with that. And you can see here I've got probably more than I'd like on these pipes, so you can just go in with your eraser. Bring your flow down, put your pressure sensitivity onto it, and just ease it out. And there you go. Alright, next we'll tackle our engine. In this clip, we painted grime and rust onto the body of our robot.